Welcome back to Ending the Fight. If you just joined us, I'm Dr. Kirsten Snow, and we're talking about divorce mediation with Divorce Done Right. Joining me now are Peter Bort and Mary Beth Blessing, both experienced mediators with Divorce Done Right. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Can you tell us a little bit about why you chose to become a mediator and how long you've been in mediation? Mary Beth?
Yes, actually I started mediating when I became the mother of 2 children. I then continued mediation as an elementary school teacher. I did a lot of peer mediation within my classroom. In 1986, I began working as a child support adjudicator with the courts, and I mediated and settled most of my cases there. It was there I really firmed up that I wanted to be a family lawyer to try and keep my families out of a courtroom and to really promote mediation as the process for going through a divorce.
Peter, what about you?
I've been mediating since 1994, and that was after having been a lawyer for 10 years. And 10 years of lawyering showed me that there had to be a better way to assist people to resolve their disputes.
In the earlier section, we talked about taking control of your own divorce and not leaving important decisions up to lawyers and judges. How does mediation accomplish this, Peter?
Well, it is about losing control, because once a court case takes on a life of its own, you lose control of the amount of money you're going to spend because of the attorney's fees and the experts involved, the time off from work, the aggravation, the stress. With regard to the relationships, you have children, you have family members, and litigation can be very divisive. You lose control of that. You also lose control of your time. Litigation can be extremely protracted and drawn out, and something that could be mediated in a few weeks or months might take on years in the courts. Ultimately, you lose the control over the ability to determine your own life. We call it self-determination. Mediation promotes self-determination. Litigation is a runaway train.
And it's important to try to keep control over those things when families are involved, especially with children. And I know that Mary Beth, you said you've worked with children in the past. Do you think that mediation through Divorce Done Right is a good thing for families with kids?
Absolutely. Litigation has 2 very negative trickle-down effects for children. First of all, it polarizes parents, and the emotional trauma absolutely is going to trickle down to children. They're going to feel it. They're going to be part of it. They're going to be dragged in and questioned by a judge. And secondly, it's going to empty your pocketbooks quicker than you ever can believe. That's also going to trickle down to children. Mediation gives parents the opportunity to stay unified through this process where their children are concerned. They continue to co-parent. They continue to make good decisions for their children and talk about those decisions, and they keep their children safe. I always say to mediating couples, what do you really want your children to say to you about what they remember most about their childhood? That you fought or that you worked to keep them safe?
You both get very passionate when talking about mediation and about your jobs. Peter, what's the best part of your job as a mediator?
The best part is people that have been very stuck and seemingly unable to get anywhere with their resolution break through a barrier. And it's probably because they're finally able to feel that they've been heard, whereas before they weren't. Or they finally heard a little bit what the other person is saying. And when each can feel they've been heard and reach the point of being able to share in the steps that need to be taken to move forward from that point, that's when things can take off.
And Mary Beth, for you, what's the best part?
I love sitting back and watching the miracle happen, and it always does. There's always that very special aha moment when suddenly they realize they've reached a very important decision and they've worked together on that. That becomes a roller coaster. It's contagious. Then they go to one decision after another decision after another decision. And they're working as a whole and keeping it all together. And it's their process. That's what I love about it.
It's so interesting that you said that, because we have some comments from other Divorce Done Right mediators that I'd like for you to see to get your comments. Could we roll that tape, please?
A couple should choose mediation because it's an opportunity to turn a negative into a positive.
As a lawyer, I'm convinced that mediation is a better way to resolve conflicts. It's about solving problems rather than winning cases.
It's my experience that many families who wind their way to the courthouse have really become disconnected. And through mediation, they have an opportunity to begin dialogue with the hope of restoring dignity and hope in their lives and in the lives of their children.
What mediation does, it allows them to make the decisions rather than having a court where lawyers impose decisions on them.
Mediation is a very forward-looking process, whereas the litigation process has very much an endgame of the divorce.
Peter, Mary Beth, is there anything that you'd like to add to what your colleagues had to say? Peter?
Well, I would say that for the children involved in a divorce, the worst thing for them is to have the case litigated and have one parent the winner and one the loser, or even sometimes both the loser, because the child needs to see that both parents are successful and both parents are winners in order for them to have self-esteem.
And Mary Beth, anything else that you'd like to add?
Yes, there's a common thread in all of this, and that common thread is that mediation is a process owned by the parties, and it's a process that preserves the family while allowing the parties to amicably as possible dissolve their marriage. It's a matter of giving people lots of options, and them generating them, and the mediator generating them, and lots of choices.
You know, I really like what you both had to say, Peter and Mary Beth, about retaining control over that process. It allows the couples themselves to maintain that control instead of giving it up to lawyers and to judges, and to make the decisions that are best for themselves and for their children. Mediation gives couples a chance to communicate, to explore options, and to develop alternatives. And isn't this better than a contested divorce where the only choices are win-lose, and frankly, even more common is lose-lose? If you, a family member, a friend, are past the point of no return, make a point of getting divorced in a way that is better for you and for your family. Mediation is less costly, it's less time-consuming, less painful than a typical divorce with lawyers and judges. And no one knows more about mediation than the team at Divorce Done Right. Their experienced mediators have the skills, the professional background that you need to end the fight. I urge you to call the number on your screen now. Don't wait. After all you and your family have been through, you deserve a clear course of action. That's exactly what you'll get with Divorce Done Right.